asking.
It'll be part of your, all together, but.
Yes, I'm together.
Pardon?
I just wanna figure out how to do well.
Class participation, doing the assignments, helping other students,
What's the difference between assignments and group projects?
I'll talk about it. We haven't, we're kind of like preparing towards the group.
Last class, I was helping my group took my notes. Like, they did I have a place with somebody, like, here?
Yeah, you have to ask your group, I don't think that you think, I'm not,
Okay, no, I wasn't just sure if they were.
I don't know, maybe there's one here, you have to check with your group. Right? You know what I mean? I don't know what they did.
No, yeah, sorry, I was just wondering if you signed those.
No,
Okay, yeah, I'll just talk to them.
talk to them, but you wanna make sure. You wanna contact them even if you're not here, you always wanna contact them, right?
Yeah.
No, I was just saying.
Okay, but you wanna check with them, right? Even if you can't make it,
Yeah.
you wanna email your group too.
So, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna come back. Yeah. Alright,
Good idea.
I'm sorry. That's okay. Oh, you're not on the blackboard?
Like I'm in section KY.
Oh.
Like I'm not even.
But are you like registered for this class or you just?
Yeah, like for the one where we're instructor. I'm KY.
Add a student into the class. Not, no. It's not in this.
Oh, it's only
No, what you can add, it doesn't, as part of your article, you can add anything.
Yeah, but he wants to.
He doesn't have
be-
access to Blackboard.
Access to the Blackboard section, yeah.
Which one?
That is the audit one.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
audit.
so you have that, you can add through a user, control down user. Because what's your role?
Here, just type your.
Well, yes, you have to add his user voice, but he's not in the Blackboard.
Yeah,
So
but.
he's never gonna see this.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to add him to here anyways, no?
Yeah.
So, VADRU. Okay, what's your email? 1366. And then.
Yes, it's one of your internet, get them, give us some new, batteries. Just the second one, just tell them that we're in 212 and we're on the batteries with the mic.
It says remove. You can't add a user.
Oh, no, yeah, search username. Oh, no.
No, we want it.
Find user username. What's your username?
We're
Oh.
317 we're out of values.
AX, what was it?
No, also, issues, on the display.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not.
Okay.
Here. What would the username be?
Find it, look on the top for users. You see here, the users.
Yeah, we're no, how long?
Yeah, I don't know if it's.
Add result, so add enrollment. No, add enrollment, here, what do you use? Go back. Okay, users, and then find users to enroll.
Yeah, so I thought.
Okay. And then we browse, go to browse. Can you hold that down? You can go like this. Did you get him in?
Yeah.
Did you promote him to instructor?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to promote him.
Change your role.
Yeah, right? See, everything's easy when you know it. No, you didn't, right?
Alright, perfect.
Right? Because when you were promoting, okay? Okay, folks, welcome back. Questions before we begin? Do a couple of things here. We're gonna do a quiz. See what everybody wants. And now you can keep your laptops. It'll be open, quiz. Okay, so, I suggest if you don't do well on this, time to, okay, so take one each. Everybody coming? 1, 2, 3, 4. You can like give yourself okay, so today is what? The 5th, so it's Monday, January 5,
February.
oh, February, thank you, wow, yes, can you be so kind? Yeah, and put one in for me, wow. February, wow, I'm in January. February 5th, 2018. Okay? So the first thing we'll do is this. Everybody have the sheet of paper? I want you to fold it like this. Like you were gonna write, you weren't gonna be old fashioned like you're gonna write your mother a letter. Old fashioned way. Anybody ever write in an envelope? We're gonna fold it in thirds. This way. This way. And then, what I want you to do, we're gonna pass it around with this marker. I'm gonna make myself a name tag. So I'll put here, Dr. Rush, this side, and also this side. And then you'll make yourself name tags. I'm gonna be putting mine right over here. Thank you so much. Did you check to see the word? Okay, so I'm gonna be putting it here. You'll be putting it in your front, and every time you'll be bringing it to class, okay? So if we have issues with that, we're not gonna stay in class, right? Okay, all right, so Allie has it first. We'll begin. Thank you. Using extra Okay, and wait till that goes around. And Ally, can you be so kind and make a roll? Get a sheet of paper from someone and put,
Oh, can I have another yellow one?
sure, sure can. Have a couple in case new people come in. Okay, come in on the front, okay.
So there's another one? Oh, sure. Thank you.
And then we'll wait till the marker goes around, so you can have the marker.
Do you need our major and work study or just name and for this time?
Put your name, put yourself as number one,
I have another.
take a couple. Put your name, email, and phone. Okay? All right, so what do I need to do? First, the things I need to do is I have to start my broadcast. A couple of people have contacted me, they're not available. So there's a couple of things that we're gonna do each time. And that is, we're gonna broadcast, we're gonna put the links on for each time. And also, you need to check with your group of what's responsible. So where am I gonna go? I'm gonna go to Creator Studio. I'm going to live streaming. I'm gonna go to events. I'm gonna go to the end of the events and of upcoming. And I see today, so I'm gonna start the Google Hangouts on air. Jesse, can you check what is this film in here? What does this say in here? Okay, does it see this board? Does it see the very top? Can you see January? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start the broadcast. Okay. I'm going to share my screen, share. And I'm gonna minimize. Okay. So, if you didn't get a yellow sheet, come pick it up over here. And we'll continue. So did you start a sheet? Thank you so much. Okay, what are we going to cover today? We'll review your homeworks. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is something called peer-to-peer versus centralization. We're going to be talking about security, computer, and info security. We'll also talk about ATS, which stands for Automated Trading Systems. Well, yeah. I'll give you my phone to them right now. So Allie and Alex, can you do me a favor? Just take your phones, like I talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah, Allie and Alex. So just talk, you can just go out. Right, hold on, just talk to me. Okay, ATS, and the fourth one is blockchain. Okay, okay? So where's my marker going around? Okay, so, in terms of the marker, then make it on both sides. Why do I want it on both sides? So the people from behind you can see it as well, okay? And bring it to class. So Lexi, this is yours. Okay, and then I'm gonna talk about blockchain with applications. And we'll talk about blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Is that enough? And we'll see whether I've invited someone to join us as a guest speaker. We'll see if they show up. If not, I think we have plenty to talk about, right? But if you see somebody coming in, let me know. Okay. So I have, right now I have the audit area, and I'm not going to spend too much time on the audit area, but let me just review a bit for you. Is everybody up to date on their groups? Okay, so put a note here, what I'm talking about, and you can put a note here. What's the difference between peer-to-peer and centralization? Who can tell me? Who's ever heard of peer-to-peer versus centralization? Let's think about, let's think about Gmail, right? How many people have used Gmail before? Okay, Gmail, when you're doing Gmail, where is the server in Gmail? Who owns that? Who owns the server? Who hosts Gmail? Google, right? So what Google does, it's centralized, and to each of its individuals that have accounts, it then shares the information. Peer-to-peer means one computer to another computer communicate just directly. That's peer-to-peer. Centralization would mean you could think about it as I as the instructor and I communicate to each of you, right? That could be like centralized. Peer-to-peer would be what in this class? What would peer? Everybody understand what centralization? I, the instructor, speak to each of you and send that information out. What would peer-to-peer be? Yeah.
Us helping each other?
Basically, peer-to-peer is that one group would then communicate with another group. So what I want to do we have individuals within one group that look at another group. So what I want to do is have peer-to-peers in the beginning of group 1 and group 2 communicating, group 3 and group 4 communicating, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, and 9 and 10. Now, what we talked about before was what? We want to be consistent. So what should be on the front page, Lexi? What group are you in?
4.
Okay, you're
3.
3. So you're in group 3 here that we said, right, that group 3, we said that, what did we want? We wanted 3 bits of information here. We wanted name, what was the second column? Email, and what else? And phone numbers. So we don't have to do this. I don't need to go with each group. That should be in everybody's group. And you can look among your own group and you can look at your peer group and give them feedback of what's missing. Everybody with me here? And it's the same thing that once I'm in a group, right, let me just even start in group 1. I have Wayne, and then where's Cole? Is Cole here?
Not that cool.
Okay, not this Cole, okay? So we have to see here, is to see here, you're Coleman or what?
No.
Okay, so which group are you in?
Group 5.
Group 5. So if I look in group 5 then here, this is done correctly, and I look in group 5 here, right, I have a collaboration folder, and what should we see in the collaboration folder is I should see then everybody have the collaboration software you did, the pros and the cons of each of these. And then if I go back in the screencasting folder, I should have everybody's screencasting program with your name, your individual name, and the tutorial you did with the pros and cons. That should be in everybody's folder. Did you get it?
Yes.
Perfect.
To exit as a code and we told him the number, but what is it gonna do?
Okay, but perfect. We'll talk about it in a second.
You know, like, text message.
No, we'll talk about it. So basically, and I'll get to it in a moment. So basically, what we're going to do is check to see. This is an excellent group. What group is this again?
Group 5.
Group 5. Excellent. Very good. So you're going to see here that you should use Group 5 as your model. Excellent. And Allie was asking me, how are we going to get graded? Because everybody, even though you love being with me, right? Every week, there's still behind the back of your mind is, what grade am I going to get? Everybody wants to do well. I'm in a position here that I'm a full professor, and what I want to do is I want to be able then to give you a grade in which you deserve, that you earn. And one of the things here is on a weekly basis, you'll be checking yourself, but things like this are counting towards your assignments, and also you giving feedback to other groups. And what I talked about when we talked about collaboration is what you can get extra in terms of helping others within your group and your peer group to help you, because I want to get everybody up and running. And I don't want to spend a lot of time going into the minutia. You can do that yourselves, right? Priscilla, you can do that. You can check if you've done it. You can check on your peer. You can help them if they're having issues. But my group 5 here did an excellent job in terms of citing the pros, the cons, the idea of what's the difference between file and item. And this is in terms of their issues. Everybody with me? So by the end, what I suggest is many of you start. If you don't have that, is meet at the end. We're going to end early, and everybody I know is going to be tired and you want to rush out. And I heard there was Drake here, right? And everybody's still coming down from that. And I heard rumors had it he was going to come here. I don't know why he's not here yet, right? Maybe that's our video. Huh?
Oh, is that why you had us call the guy?
Right. Somebody's going to text you that he's going to come. Okay, so that may be that's rumors, right? I should have him come every week, right? So anyway, so in turn here we'll have more exciting guests. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so that's Uber Eats. Okay, questions? All right, so next time what we'll do too is we'll have somebody in the next, folks, that'll be a good idea too. We're supposed to have additional guest speakers, and when they come in, we will then have somebody here order some food too, since we're here for so long. That'd be a good idea. Remind me, those groups that want to be in charge of refreshments and so forth, let me know and I'll
Well, you should
put the bill,
seriously,
right?
give us time to do that.
Right, so I'll do that at the end. Okay, next. Okay, so one of the things is we talked about the difference between peer-to-peer versus centralization, and we'll talk about it as well in terms of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Is the idea also of peer-to-peer versus centralization. Okay, so we have this part. I'd like you at the end of the class to meet with your peer groups, and then I'll make sure that before you leave at the end of the class, that the first part will be done properly. Any questions? Okay, so we have my group 5 available. So let me go to now my regular section. So I'm going to go back to Blackboard. And once I go to Blackboard, I'm going to be looking for KX, the regular section that you should have. And in the regular section, there's a couple of things that I want you to do. I want you to go to course documents. And in course documents, I have PowerPoint. And I said we're going to go over chapter 4. And let me make sure we have chapter as well. Is we have the hardware. And for next week is TG, and TG stands for what? TG, Thank God, and also Tech Guide, okay? So Thank God and Tech Guide.
Wait, you're adding them in quiz?
I'm gonna add a quiz. So I'm gonna go to assignments. And you should have chapter 1, TG1, and chapter 4, I'm gonna add TG2. I'm gonna edit test options. And what else should I do?
Hit submit
No, I have to change something
to
before I
make
get.
it viewable by us.
Right. So I have to
Make
do
the link
what? Make a
available.
link available?
Yes.
And then I'm gonna give it two times for attempts. And just make sure it's there. Is it there for you?
Yeah.
Okay, it's there for you
This is due before next class.
before next class.
The fifth one, right?
Data and TG2.
TG2, which stands for Tech Guide number 2 for software. Okay, let me just download this just to make sure.
We did TG2 and we did.
That was my assignment.
Okay.
Questions?
So only TG2 or TG2?
No,
and
chapter
then-
five.
Okay.
TG2 software, okay? All right. And then the security as well. Where's the marker? That going? Or where's the roll? That going where? I talk about computer security, I talk about information security. Why are we more vulnerable today? Everybody understand the question? Why are we more vulnerable today? Yes.
Everything we do is on the computer.
It's what?
Everything we do is practically on the computer.
And so, why am I more vulnerable? Why am I more vulnerable today than I was, let's say, 20 years ago?
I mean, I guess also
First of all, most of my, in terms of information security, before, if I think about information security, it could be that somebody could break into an office, go and get the files from somebody's desk, right? Or I have something on your desk, I can pick up your phone, right? I can steal your computer equipment, but what else? I can physically go
you can be
and
hacked now, though.
what?
You can be hacked.
How am I going to be hacked?
The cloud.
Basically via, how are we basically doing this? We have it basically, we go via a browser, right? And via a browser, via the internet, I can be anywhere in the world and start stealing information, or I can enter your computer, or I can steal your identity. So now we're going to be much more, we're interconnected, dependent now. We can steal a lot more. Basically, we have more and more digital devices. We're on much more often. To be a computer hacker now, they say it's decreasing skill necessary to be a computer hacker. Why is it? I would think more, right? It says here, decreasing skills necessary to be a computer hacker. Why? How can you be a computer hacker? Basically now, you can download software to be a hacker. So basically other companies create that. And also, now it's a lot easier. Instead of even shipping drugs, what I can use now is I can steal people's identity. I can do what they call ransomware. Anybody hear about that? Basically, just like I'm going to do ransomware, you can Google it, right? If I do ransomware, it's basically I can take over somebody's computer or somebody's server and prohibit them from entering their own computer and taking out their own, being able to access that and asking for money. And how do they usually ask for money in terms of what kind of payments? Bitcoin, some type of cryptocurrency. Why? Well, it's basically not so much as untraceable. We'll talk about it, but it's difficult to find the identity of the person. It's not that it's untraceable, but it's difficult to find the way of the person. And if we look at then the security, if I look on the security, these are 3 areas in which you need to know. Let me make sure that you understand that. You need to know what a threat is. You need to know what exposure means. And also what vulnerability is. A threat then is an information resource that's in danger to the system. Exposure of an information resource is the harm or the loss or the damage that can result in a threat. And vulnerability is the possibility that the system will be harmed. I have unintentional threats to information systems. One of the unintentional threats can be outside threats or internal threats. Outside threats can be just being on the internet, so I can have my hackers, unauthorized users, what we call DOS. What's DOS stand for? Denial of service. I can have malware, which is viruses, natural disasters, man-made, fire, and so forth. These are my outside threats, and many times my inside threats can be even more dangerous depending on what kind of systems, and that is by my employees, other insiders, hardware threats. So these are my hardware versus my inside threats and my outside threats. Any questions? Pretty straightforward, right? So I have those outside threats. I can have human errors. And in human errors, that's just that I just put my password. You know, I hate all those passwords to change it. So what do? Next to my desk, I have a little sticky notes. And I have my password there. I'm careless. Social engineering. What's social engineering? Brittany?
I can look it up.
Good. What's social engineering? Yes, you can.
Isn't attacking which the use social skills to trick or manipulate legitimate employees into providing confidential company information such as passwords.
Okay, in your own words, what's social engineering?
So like going in and stealing information.
Anybody know what schmoozing is? What is it, like, Lexi?
It's just like when you scout off with somebody.
Well, basically, it's when I'm starting to relate, right? And I say, oh, Lexi, how are you doing? Oh, you have such a cute outfit, right? You know, why don't we go out to lunch? Yeah? And so we go out to lunch, we befriend each other, and as I'm going out to lunch, I tell Jessie, let's go out together, and Jessie just takes a little memory stick and puts it on her computer and starts downloading. Or she's not available, and I said, let's go, and then I can call up Lexi, and I said, Lexi, you remember we went out to lunch, and we had a good time? By the way, you know, do you mind, I don't have my password, can I use your computer? Or I have Jesse call up Lexi and said, you know, I'm part of IT. We're doing a test right now, and it seems like we're having problems on the line, right? I'm not able to get in. Your username is Lexi, probably at miami.edu, and your password, we're going to have to change it. So what's your old password? And we start doing types of things where they're talking about social engineering to be able to connect with a number of people. So that's social engineering. And deliberate threats to information systems, you can read that as well as to identify those threats of vandalism. And then this is really big, is identity theft. Anybody ever hear about identity theft, that they go in and basically take over, they steal your mail or they take over your systems? Now, let me go back to my blackboard. And let's go to the web links. Everybody go to your web links in Blackboard. And on my web links, if I go all the way down, everybody hear of cryptocurrency? Everybody hear of Bitcoin? Okay. In Bitcoin, we have what we call a wallet. Everybody knows your own wallet, right? Check to see your wallet, but we have a digital wallet. And in Bitcoin, people have a wallet to hold their Bitcoins. Who has anybody have any Bitcoins? George, you have a wallet?
Yeah.
And where is that wallet stored?
Well, I have an app on my phone.
You have an app on your phone, and how do you get to that?
Put in a password.
Put in a password. And how long is that password? Is it a few characters?
It's kind of long,
It's kind of long, right? And why is it kind of long?
so that it's not easy to.
Yeah, it's not easy to break on terms of the password. So what they've done now is all this cryptocurrency, it's in the beginning stage. You think it's 100% secure.
It probably isn't.
It probably isn't, right? Since anything digital is hackable, right? So all this cryptocurrency is also more vulnerable. And there's a type of cryptocurrency that instead of Bitcoin, they call it lumens. There's many types of cryptocurrency. And look at this. It says stolen lumens black wallet. And if I click on it, this is a small little theft that says $400,000 stolen in Lumen's black wallet theft. Another day, another theft in the world of cryptocurrency wallets. And based on those wallets, this says, over the weekend, as reported by Bleeping Computer, don't you love that name? Bleeping Computer, a DNS server. So now we got to figure out what's a server. A server is a computer that's going to host accounts. What's DNS? And Brian, if you look at me, what does that mean? Not good, right? So what's a DNS?
Domain name system.
A domain. What is it, Cole? What is it?
I remember going over it.
DNS. Coleman, what's a DNS? A DNS server.
Domain names.
A domain name system. So what the heck does that mean? So Faith, what does that mean? A domain name system.
Decentralized naming system.
A decentralized naming system, and what does that mean? Anybody hear of a domain name? Who knows what a domain name is? What's a domain name?
I just know like
What? Give me an example of a domain name.
Google.com.
Google.com. What about in this institution? Miami.edu, right? All of these are domain names, and what is basically behind a domain name? You can put this in your notes. Behind a domain name is basically an IP address. And remember we talked about the first stage, we talked about IP, Estella? IP, what does IP stand for? Besides intellectual property. Nobody was born with this, right? So Leah, what's IP? An IP address. Written.
Internet protocol.
An internet protocol. What does it mean, internet protocol? It's rules and regulations via the internet. And basically, every then site on the internet has an address to it. Just like if I wanted to see where you live, you have an address, and attached to your address is your name. An address is hard to kind of keep up with, so what they do is people that make their name that it's easier to remember. So Microsoft.com or Google.com or Apple.com or Gmail.com or Facebook.com is easier to remember for you than it is the address. And so what we have is we have a server that has all the addresses with the then relevant name to it. The name to the public. Everybody clear on that? So really behind it is addresses. So basically, as reported, a DNS server connected to the domain of the browser-based wallet application was compromised. And what does it mean that it was compromised? It basically, someone went in there and it was vulnerable, and what happened? There were threats to it. And those threats, they say, the Stellar Lumen cryptocurrency was the target of the attack by redirecting the DNS server to a server controlled by the hacker. So what does it sound like it is, Frankie? So that DNS by lumens, what happens is everything that went there, we directed it. Let's say me and you were in cahoots, we directed to our server. Okay? And then when the theft took place, over $400,000 was contained in the attacker's wallet. At the time of writing, roughly $48,000 have been left following a number of transfers. According then, the exploit used was a code injection. Write that down. Code injection. The exploit, the server was vulnerable, and what they did, Frankie and I, let's say, we said, you know what, let's do a code injection. And code injection here, we do an algorithm. You remember we talked about algorithms? You remember we talk about doing rules. Brittany, you've done some programming, right? So we can just do like an if statement. If something occurs, then something then will happen. So Frankie, me and you are in cahoots. Let's say if then there's more than, let's say, 20 of these lumens, then what do we want to do, Frankie? Maybe bring it over to our server. So what they do here was held by you were automatically, so if over 20 lumens was held by users, you see that, Brittany? That's basically code. The funds were automatically transferred over to the attacker's wallet. Who's never had programming before? Raise your hand.
Never.
Never. Okay, so who wants to, okay, so Alex, you've never had programming, so I'm gonna make you a programmer. Okay? So what are we looking at here? Let's look at this. This is a function that the name of the function is called what, Alex? Display wallet. And within the function, we say in that function, display wallet, what do you think this means? It says if get wallet lumens count greater than 20, what does that mean?
Like if you get it there, like take more than 20.
If we find more than 20 lumens, right? Basically, what do we want to do? That's my if statement, and then it says what? Get the lumens, and what destination do you want to do? Look at this, George. What does this look like?
Yes.
It basically almost looks like my password of my system. So what is it when we say, what did I say about the code? What was that code called? When I injected it, what's it called? Injected code. This is my, do you see that, Blake? This is my injected code. They go ahead, they get access to the server, the original server, inject that code, so every time somebody accumulates more than 20 lumens, get it, and put it into my Frankie and mine server. That's how they do it. Now they can do this not only in cryptocurrencies, they can do it in other kind of banking systems and so forth, other kind of systems that they do. And this pushes it to a different wallet. So the DNS hijacked a black wallet, injected code. If you had over 20 lumens, it pushed them to a different wallet. Alerts and warnings were quickly posted in a vain attempt to warn users and prevent them from logging into the domain, which triggered the exploit. So basically you had the domain, you triggered it and so forth. So there are thousands of these cryptocurrencies out there, and basically we think that they're secure, but just like anything else that's digital, it's hackable. And one of the things is, how do you refrain from doing those and how you do it? You can see that they do it the Russians do it, the Chinese do it, everyone is doing it, the Americans are doing it, Iranians and so forth are doing it in terms of they're hacking into what we call IoT. And what's IoT? The Internet of Things, right? So when they were doing like the nuclear facilities in Iran, there were supposedly countries going in and hacking it and putting it into the chip systems. And you remember we talk about security systems and so forth? Well, even within those security systems, it's hackable. So even when you think it's the right signature, it isn't. Questions? Do you have a question?
I was gonna say like a way to keep it more safe, which I have like some of my cryptocurrencies and it's like a hardware, like flash.
Right. So basically you remove that, you take it off the internet, and then maybe even in a bank, in a safe deposit bank. You know, just like anything else that you think about, you need backup and recovery systems to it. Everybody with me? So I just wanted to show you in terms of what we were doing, that you can think about these systems that are capable to do that. Okay? And the other part of what I'd like you to realize is for next week as well, is start thinking about this blockchain for business. And basically, we've all kind of heard about Bitcoin, even though maybe we haven't traded in it and so forth. We have it, but what's the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain? Is there a difference? Are they the same? What do you think, Lindsay? And if you don't know, you can say in this class you don't know. No idea. So one of the things that I want to do is these two articles of the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain, what are the applications that you should go over for next week. And you can see the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain. The first one for business is the first thing that they're not the same thing, and they are different, but they're closely related. And when Bitcoin was released, it was released as open source code. So you want to put that in your notes here. Open source code. And code are instructions to the computer, right? And what's open source code? Like,
Anybody can make alterations to it.
right, first of all, that it's open to the public. Open source code is that it's all open to the public, and blockchain was wrapped together within that solution, and basically Bitcoin was the most popular as one of the first applications of blockchain. So blockchain is much broader. Bitcoin is an application to blockchain. And blockchain has been used in other industries. It's been used in healthcare, it's been used in finance, it's been used in energy. There are several industries that blockchain has been used, and this Bitcoin then in 2008, when it was started, was the beginning of this, and this is the key. Bitcoin, you can put this in your notes and you can read this afterwards. Is a distributed ledger. Bitcoin and blockchain are developed as a distributed ledger. There's no, who has taken an accounting course before? You remember a general ledger? Who remembers a general ledger? When I'm dealing with the general ledger is done by what? A company. And it isn't distributed to everyone, but it states as individual. This is a distributed ledger on a peer-to-peer network. Remember we talked about peer-to-peer?
I'm confused what that is.
Okay, what is what? Peer-to-peer? Peer-to-peer means, let's say this, Allie. Peer-to-peer means when I send you something, I'm sending it directly to you. We don't have an intermediary. Think about if I wanted to send you money. Now if I wanted to send you money, where's my money stored?
In a cloud.
No, now. Where's it stored now? Not cryptocurrency. I want to send you $100. In a bank. My bank is my intermediary. I have to go to the bank, and from my bank it's sent to you. In a peer-to-peer, we're not going to have that intermediary. That intermediary of the bank has been put across. So we don't have like the middle one in between. That's why in the beginning banks were fearful of this too.
Without a direct deposit,
Well, it's direct deposit, but the direct deposit goes to your bank, and what do you have to do? I have to take it out of my bank. Still, when I have the employer, let's say my employer does direct deposit, doesn't give it to me directly,
like a Venmo.
it would, right. So in that case of a peer-to-peer, you think about it almost like micro-lending. So what it is, the underpinning then of that technology maintains in the Bitcoin, you can do this. And on your own, for next week, this is a really nice little short little video where that you can see here. See? See, and so you can see here, and notice who put this out. IBM. Why the heck does IBM want to get involved with this? Who has any clue? IBM put this out. What does IBM have to do with this? Like,
They just want to educate people about blockchains.
but why?
Applications.
Not just for the goodness of their heart.
No,
Why?
they're developing their own.
They're basically trying to develop software and hardware to be on this blockchain technology. So what's interesting here, they're going to be able to do this blockchain, right, with the intention of simplifying by bypassing then governments, bypassing networks. And what blockchain then is doing, the underlying technology of blockchain, it is also peer-to-peer, distributed. So what the blockchain is a database, you can think about it where data is stored, of transaction records. So a blockchain is a database or a ledger of records. And what it really works out, blockchains, if I have transactions. And what blockchain eliminates, think about it, if you want to buy, where's going to be blockchain really big? In real estate. Because what are you doing in real estate? Where's my markers going around? Did I have a marker going around? Let's not sit on it. Brian, you want to move on it? On your, you have a name tag over there? So use your dark. Yes, so I can see, everybody else can see them front and back. So I got so many Brians. I got a Brian here. Who else? I got a Brian here. We got Brian here. So I got BB, and so we can do it. So this Brian and this one and yours. So what I have here is I have this distributed across peer-to-peer network, and when we say one-to-one, without any, basically what I'm saying here, Alex, without a central authority. I don't have, Alex, the bank in the middle anymore. It's going to be peer-to-peer, and what everyone's going to do is the network participants then agree on the validity of those transactions before they're recorded. We have what they call a consensus, and it's achieved through mining. Who's ever heard of mining? Bitcoin mining. They mine basically your ways, and basically what they're doing is they're going to be mining for the legitimacy of their transactions. So, this really works, blockchain really works well on assets, tangible assets. So you can do it if I want to buy and sell cars. So basically then if I want to buy and sell cars, I want to buy and sell real estate, food products, intangibles like securities. So when you think about like finance, are all cases in which blockchain is used. So traditionally, identity over anonymity is Bitcoin thrives due to its anonymity. So why did the drug dealers and why do the criminals like Bitcoin and why does ransomware like Bitcoins? Because it thrives on what? It doesn't say, hey, Frankie and Dr. Rush want to inject this code to us. Please send it to our bank account number, Citibank in Coral Gables, US 1, corner of US 1 right there. You know the Citibank, that we don't let them know that, right? My checking account number, So this is where they thrive. And then on the other hand, you remember we had KYC. What's KYC? Sounds like Kentucky Fried Chicken, right, doesn't it? Know your customer. Especially after, you remember, the patriotic and terrorism, what the United States and other people say is that when you're in a bank, you have to know your customer, you have to show your IDs and so forth. So now they have something called AML, anti-money laundering compliance, that they have to know exactly who their customers are. So blockchain does not prevent you, and you can put this in your notes, blockchain does not prevent you to have anonymity. You can make blockchain knowing who your customers are. It's just that in the cryptocurrencies, you're able to do that. And consensus is achieved, so this is a key word here. Consensus in the blockchain through a process of selective endorsement. There's something called selective endorsement, and that is consensus. So I'd like you for next week to read about this, and then these two articles, and then
Where do we get the article?
it's the end, it's on my web links of my course documents. The one that I'd like you to read is the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain, and you can go through the tutorial. And also, blockchain, what are the examples? And notice this, what is blockchain? The most disruptive tech in decades, the distributed ledger. Did we talk about distributed ledger? So let me just turn this over. We don't need that. You can listen to these guys. But you can see here the distributed ledger technology, better known as blockchain, has the potential, and notice its potential, to eliminate huge amounts of record keeping, save money, and disrupt IT in ways not seen since the internet arrived. And notice what it said, blockchain is poised to change IT in the same way open source software did a century ago. And they're rolling out pilot studies. You see these questions here, Lindsay and Faith? What is blockchain? What does blockchain do? How secure is blockchain? Private versus public. Which industries use blockchain? And you see here blockchain for healthcare. So I would like you, in the table of contents of that last article, is to be prepared to answer all those questions. You remember I said there are going to be two types of questions on the test? One from the book and one from the discussion in the class. These are excellent questions for the open-ended. I'll go into it more in detail, but when I said about kind of like the essay, is what is blockchain and what are some of the industries used? And if I look at blockchain for healthcare, Faith, look at this. If I click on this, blockchain for healthcare, there's one called Mint Health. See that, Lindsay? Mint Health? And if I go to Mint Health empowers patients to take control of their health and data via blockchain technology. It sounds very similar to what other company we talked about? P-Toy. The only difference here, anybody ever go to the gym? Anybody ever go to the wellness center, right, the gym? Why do you go?
To be healthy.
To be healthy, right? To be able, and why do you think health insurance companies would want you to go?
Because if you're healthy, it saves them money.
Saves them money, reduces the cost. You remember for business I told you two things that we need to figure out. How to increase our revenues or do what? lower cost. If I can be a business and do hopefully 2 of those things, then I'm doing well. Right? So health insurance companies, what are they saying to do? Empower patients to take control of their health data via blockchain technology. So what this Mint Health is saying, guess what? We'll work with some insurers and we'll put up a coin where, for instance, every time you work out, I'm going to get incentivized not by just feeling good, but what? Getting the coins and selling the coins. So it's interesting that these are incentive tokens, and they're calling it, instead of vitamins, they're calling it vitamins. And gamification to engage patients in their journey to better health. Machine learning on a growing patient database to help identify predictors of disease and health. So they're creating a patient engagement platform for the initialization of steps for healthcare, incentivizing it. So then you could look at this company, Mint Health, IO, and connecting, and they're going to be doing this. So you see in terms of your project, what your project could be doing is evaluating healthcare applications for blockchain, and then later on, once you had the ideas, then you could create an additional one. Right? So in this case, you can see Mint Health is a global. Look, now when we read these commercials, I call them commercials, right? But from these companies, decentralized that aligns healthcare stakeholders around the goal to improve the clinical outcomes, lower costs, and then when I go learn more, basically what they're going to do here, global decentralized stakeholders. They tell me we got these doctors here and going to be putting in a bunch of people hoping to make millions, right? Right in here in this new technology, right? That'll give me their ways to do it. My advisors, my groups, about them. And what I'd like you to do is in the beginning is maybe even look at areas that you're interested in, whether it be advertising, finance, to see what's being done in blockchain. And I just gave you that example that you can read through, that you can see it's just not even that P-toy, that they basically were looking like they didn't graduate that long ago, right? Those guys from Patientori and having now raised millions of dollars. Anybody hear of Kodak? Remember that old company? Where did you hear about it? It used to be in film, not even digital, right? It used to be an old film, 35 millimeter kind of things. Let's go to the internet.
They released watching.
Right? And let's go to Yahoo. Let's go to finance. Yahoo.com. And I'm going to look for Kodak. Kodak. Let's see. This is Eastman Kodak. And let me just look at 1 month. Look at here, right? And all of a sudden, look where the stock market went, right up here. Everybody see that? From here all the way up there. What happened, and what date is this? This is January 10th. My question to you is, what happened? That was like a dead stop, right? Whoever sees, you don't go and see, I want to buy a Kodak camera. Who has a Kodak camera? Nobody, right? Or it's a Kodak film. Who's doing any of that? What happened in the beginning of January for Kodak? Let's research it. What happened to Kodak?
They released the blockchain.
what had happened to Kodak, right? Look at this. Cryptocurrency bet drives Eastman Kodak Company, look how much percent higher. What percent? 156% in January. Kodak made a splash in January, but the shine may be already wearing down. But the idea is Kodak decided we're going to be what? We're going to be a cryptocurrency based on images. And if you have photos, send your photos and we'll embed something within that digital photos, and every time anybody wants to use your photos, what do you get? Cryptocurrency. And notice 156%. Anything that smells like, right, sniffs like that. After a while, we don't know how long that's going to last, though. And then, guess what the news is? And then it went down. Guess what the news is now? Kodak Coin executive barred from serving as an officer in the German companies. Right? And then you see the Spotlight Futures, Bitcoin, has plans. And then basically, look at this. Kodak delays initial coin offering. So as soon as they say, hey, wait a minute, we're not going to offer it so soon, we have to check with our investors and so forth, we have problems. But you see how it kind of goes all of a sudden now Kodak. Advertising starts to do with Kodak, with cryptocurrencies. Okay, so we're set with this. So one assignment is to do what, William? Is to do the quiz for TG2, which is the software. The other assignment is to look through those last two articles of cryptocurrency and look to see, start doing some research on interest that you have. Where's the marker? Brian?
That's it.
And Brianna? How do you pronounce your name? Bryn. So marked on here, Bryn. Okay. All right. So everybody good? Okay, next. Next, what did I say? So I talked about peer-to-peer. So Ali, you understand now peer-to-peer, and then basically it's taking away that intermediary. So basically, if I think about it in peer-to-peer, then you don't have to have my approval. Basically, think about the audit area. Is peer-to-peer. You don't need my permission, right, to upload. You don't need my permission to put in another user. Just think about that. In my section, I'm centralized, right? You don't have permission to upload. You don't have permission to add a new user. But in your section, it's basically peer-to-peer with all your peers. Okay? Computer information system, and then what's the next one? I said ATS, which stands for what? Automated trading systems. So, that's what we're going to look at next. So, we'll go to where I was before, so I can close this. Let me close this. Now I want to go to Ninja Trader.com. Everybody have that? Let me put this on the notes. Ninja Trader.com. And it says award-winning platform plus low-cost futures broker. So this is a platform for automated trading systems plus a brokerage account. Who are my finance majors? Okay. So this would be good. You can take the lead. My finance majors can take the lead on this. We're going to not use their brokerage account. We're going to just use their platform. And why do I like their platform? And I wanted to put this in perspective, Blake, from what we were talking about before. The reason why I want to use this platform is it's free, and we can do it in simulation mode for the class. And if I go down, everybody with me here? Go to ninjatrader.com, your email, and you can download now, free to use. Do you want free live market data? You say no. Everybody put in your notes there, Lindsay and Faith, when it says, do you want free live market data? I don't want live, so I'm just going to say for right now, no.
You said you can't do this on Mac.
You need Windows to use this. So either you can use a Windows machine, or you can create a virtual machine, or you can do something like Parallels or Boot Camp to use Windows. You can use it as a group. So if one person puts it on their machine, you can work together as a group. Okay? So, in this case, everybody with me? So write this down in your notes here. There's NinjaTrader 7 and NinjaTrader 8. We're going to start off with 7. And the reason we're going to start off with 7 is because there are a number of strategies. There are more strategies available. There's more open source. Look how we're using these terms. There are more open source strategies available in 7 than there are in 8. But sometimes later on, I'll show you 8 is more sophisticated. And when I do that, I'll create that. So when I talk about this, I'm going to go to NinjaTrader 7. And then you can download that. Okay? I'm not right now going to select it because I have it on my machine already. Okay? Questions? How are we doing, Andrea? Okay?
Yeah, I have a Mac.
What?
I have a Mac right now.
So you're going to need to get find a Windows to install that, either on your own machine or get with a group, and we'll see. Okay? Questions? Okay,
I have a
now.
question.
Yes.
If we don't have a Windows, could we do it? Would we not be able to download it on the school computers in the
Try
library?
it. Try it.
Okay.
And do me a favor and let me know if you have issues, and then we'll try to get them to install it.
Okay.
We'll get them installed on the school's computer, okay? So if you can be so kind and then email me.
Yeah.
Try it like early on this, early on in this week. See if you can do it. And then if you're having issues, email me, and then we'll try to get the folks there to install it. At least install it on some of the machines.
Okay.
Beautiful question. That's why we want to support each other. And that's what I want to encourage us to do, is to try to help encourage to support each other. Okay. So let me just show you how it works. You see here NinjaTrader 7 I have here, so let's see if it works. And guess what? Everything always doesn't work all the time. You'll see. I may have too many things. Okay, so it comes up, and what does it say right here?
Simulated trading.
Simulated trading. So put in your notes here, we want simulated trading. We want to simulate what it is. How did the stock market do today?
Atrocious.
Down,
Down, how much?
1,000 points.
1,000 point, what percentage?
5.
Around 5%. Why did it go down so much? So quickly? What percentage of trades are done by the computers?
Roughly 90% of the daily flow.
About 90%. And what did all these algorithms, what do they probably have is when the market is going down a certain percentage point, what do you think the algorithm says to do? Sell. And all of them are selling at the same time, so it almost accelerates that down position. And can you make money on that down position? If we're betting on it going down, you can make money going down as you can making going up. So a lot of times, as it's going down, it may be other algorithms coming in and saying, hey, I want to short, because guess what? I bet you now that it's going down quite a bit, it's going to even accelerate more. And what you have is, you have then the machine, you have people then writing the algorithms or the rules to those systems. And what I want to show you here, in terms of all these, is how do you write these rules. We'll start off with very simple, and those of you that want to pursue it in more depth can take that on as your project. So you see, just like Lindsay and Faith, we were talking about that you wanted to concentrate on the healthcare, there may be others that want to concentrate on those. And then we can even take healthcare companies and see how they're doing. So all around, your project can be all focused around the healthcare. When I get this first, and you can put this on the notes here, and I'm also recording this, on that first screen where it says get connected, I want to skip. So put that in your notes. When you see a NinjaTrader 7, when it says get connected, skip. I had this ready, so I'm just going to close this because you're not going to get this the first time. And you'll see here, and then you can put this in your notes, that you get something called a control center. And by the way, NinjaTrader has a number of tutorials on YouTube and others that will do it as well as when I'm showing you. And when you do it, those people that succeed, one of the nice things is to do what, Alex, is do a screencast, or where I get stuck, screencast that as well. And then you can throw it out to your peers and say, this is where I got stuck. Rather, it didn't work for me. And once you get it, Alex, you say, well, what didn't work? Exactly, oh, you forgot this. Simple, isn't that wonderful? Hopefully you're as excited as I am. Okay, so Frankie, the first thing I want to do is I want to connect, everybody hear that? I want to connect to free data. And what we're going to do right now is do end of day data. Later on we can do tick by tick and just see how the day went. But right now you can put in your notes here, we want to connect to end of data. So how do I get to the end of data? I go File. And Lexi, how do you think I could connect? Connect, great, Lexi. So I want to do connect, and I want, you remember I said I was cheap? And I like what?
Free things.
Free things. So what should I connect to then, Lexi? You're on a roll.
The simulated one?
Where does it say
Oh,
free?
wait, no, connect, end of day free.
Right. So I want kinetic, end of day free. And if I hear a sound and I see green, what does it mean, Lexi? You're on a roll.
Means that you're connected.
I'm connected.
Sorry.
Okay. And now I want to go to a new chart. So where do I go, Lexi? New, okay? So I'm gonna go File, New, and I wanna go to a chart. Where do I go?
Chart.
Chart, well. Okay, everything's easy, right? When you know it. Okay, so I wanna go File, New, I wanna go File, New, and I wanna go to Chart. Okay, so I have a chart here, and I can do a lot of different ways. And you can see here, I have Forex, which is what? Who knows what Forex is? Blake, what's Forex?
Foreign exchange.
Foreign exchange. It means that I want to trade, for instance, US dollars to euros, euros to yen, to Swiss franc, but we don't want to do that right now. I want to do I'm going to do regular stocks, so I can do the Dow 30 or NASDAQ 100 or the S&P 500. So I can do any of these stocks. I'm going to start off with one stock, simple. So I'm going to go to the Dow 30. And these are all the symbols of the Dow. That first one looks like what?
Apple.
Apple, right? And BA. Somebody look under the symbol. What's BA?
Bank of America.
Look at it. What is a BA? Look for symbol BA. What is symbol BA? Stella, what's symbol BA?
British Airways.
Okay, we got Bank of America, British Airways,
Oh.
BA.
Is it
BA
Boeing?
symbol. Boeing.
Boeing company.
Boeing company. So we're making. So the thing is, we're not born with this. So it's Boeing. Okay. So you almost think of it. It sounds like Bank of America. It sounds like British Airways, right? And BA, and you have Boeing. Okay. So let's start with Apple. Okay. If I start with Apple, what do I need to do? I need to click here, and you see here new, Lexi. You see here new. So anytime I'm going to try to get a symbol in, I always have to press new. So when I want to get a symbol in, I want to press new, and I have here new. Okay, and it says, you can see this, it says, you can see here that it says what? I have here APPL daily, right? So I'm able then to bring that up daily. And then we can think about it. These are what I call in development terms, these are my attributes to my objects. And in my attributes to my topic, I want to make sure and put this in your notes. This is important. By default, you sometimes don't get it. I want it. What was, when I downloaded Lexi, what was it? Was it end of day or it was minute by minute? What was it?
End of day.
End of day, so it's daily. So put this in your notes here, that my type, right, where I have then my type should then say daily. So my type should say day. So if I bring this down, you see how it says tick by tick minute? This should say day. See that? And then I have a number of things that say true, false, or whatever. And now this looks okay to me, so what should I do, Lexi?
Okay.
Okay. So, this is the stop of Apple. Look what it's done lately. What trend does that look like?
Down.
Down, 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 my downtrend, right?
Why?
Why? Why? There could be a number of reasons why. One is today was a horrible day, so everything kind of went down, so that's down. What other reasons? Anybody have any other reasons?
They missed earnings.
They missed earnings, basically. You know, even though, who has an iPhone 10?
Yeah, it's not that they're-
Who does not have an iPhone 10? How many people didn't buy the iPhone 10? Right there. That tells you, right? And who has iPhone? Everybody can say that most people can say they have iPhones, but who bought that iPhone 10? And what was the reason you didn't buy that iPhone? Is the cost that it seemed like, is it worth that $1,000, right? So that may be other things, maybe other reasons on the earnings disappointed, maybe a number of other reasons. So this went down. After the fact, guess what? So if we were looking together, and let me do this. You see this little pointer here, this cursor?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this cursor, I'm gonna make it crosshairs. So I can see, after the fact, I can see, guess what? Right at this point, Estelle, me and you should buy, and then we should sell around here, right? And then I think, maybe we'll short until here, shorting, and then maybe we'll buy here, and we'll sell here. After the fact, that's easy, and then I can go back, and I can see all this backwards, right? One is I have to look at it, and two, what do I know from before? So what we're going to be looking at is strategies where the computer will buy and sell, and we'll make adjustments to that. And then what the hard thing is, not to know what they did necessarily always in the past, but what's going to be in the future. Like what's tomorrow?
We don't know.
We don't know. So one of those things is, and then we can adjust our method. So what I want to show you is what they call is strategies. Strategies are like that injection code that we saw of rules to tell us when we buy and sell. And what we talk about buying, or a lot of times selling, or selling short, meaning that I'm betting it's going to go down again tomorrow. That it still hasn't finished those ways. Now to do that, we have strategies. The way that you have strategies, Lexi, is think about the strategy then here with the dollar sign. You see this little icon with the dollar sign? It's the second to the right, and that's strategies. You can write your own strategies. You can import other strategies. Or you can use what's built in. Everybody understand? You can use their built-in. We can write our own. Or we can use other people's strategies. And what some people do is they sell their strategies. If my strategy is so great, let me have others buy it. Or maybe I'll rent it. Software as a service. I can rent my service. And my strategies, a lot of times you think they're going to be stagnant. No, it's going to change as the market changes. So then I'll probably have to revise my strategies. Or my old strategy from last year, right? Since Trump was elected, what did the market do until January? It was going up. All last year, the whole market went up. Great. Will go up this year? We don't know. We'll need to adjust. So I'm going to do strategies. If I look at the strategies, so Lexi tells me to click on strategies, right? And there's some that are built in here. We're going to start with the built-in ones. Before we can write our own, let's use what they have. So if I look at what they have, the simplest one is called Sample MA Crossover. Put it in your notes here. Sample MA Crossover. So I'm going to click on Sample MA Crossover. And always, Lexi, what did I say? If it's something new, what am I going to press?
Apply.
New, right? I'm going to press new.
Yeah.
Okay, what's a moving average? Who can tell me? What's a moving average, Blake?
Just the average of the stock's trading price within the given window that you're analyzing. So
Okay, right?
that is-
So moving average is what's going to move after so many days, something's going to move. So on this one, it says the fast one is how many days? Lexi, how many days is fast? Moving average. I have two moving average. How many days? 10. How many is the slow? 25. So I have one line for a 10, and I have another line for 25. And now I want, Lexi, I want my strategy to be enabled. So what do I have to change for that strategy to be enabled?
You have to press OK.
Who can help Lexi? Yes, Brittany.
Next to enabled, it says false. I'm assuming
You
if
see
it-
this under general,
True.
under my attributes? Do you see this where it says enabled? You see that? And now by default, it says false. What do I have to change it to? True. How do I change it? I don't have to program, all I have to do is click true. You got it, Frankie? And now, what do I need to do to apply it? Frankie?
Press apply.
Press apply. And it says, although you have the order confirmed enabled, orders generated by a strategy will be submitted without confirmation. We're not going to be, meaning that I'm not going to have to confirm it, but we're not using the brokerage anyways, so I'm just going to say okay. Basically, I'm just confirming that, and now I say what? To get out of this, it's what, Lexi? Okay. And it's going to tell me the same thing, and now let's see what happens. A whole bunch of stuff now going on. This now is telling me the rules based on this strategy. Now, this is the point. Everywhere that I see dotted lines, put this in your notes, everywhere that there's dotted lines in the strategy, everywhere that there's dotted lines in the strategy that are colored green, it means that I made money or lost money? Made money. Wow. Everywhere that I see dotted lines that are red,
You lost money.
now let's see how that meant. So, this in green told me to buy at this point, do you see that? Of 159 or 160. And it told me to sell, it looks like at 165. So did it go up or down? This part, it went up. Here it tells me I should sell short. What does sell short mean? You see here it says sell short. What does sell short mean?
Does it mean when it gets to that position?
It means what? What does sell short mean? Andrea?
Does it mean that when it gets to that position, it should automatically sell?
It means what? Sell short means what? Like sell short means what?
And you're betting that it's gonna go down.
I'm betting it's going to go down. Put this in your notes. Selling short means I'm betting it's going down. It's basically what I'm doing is I'm betting. We won't talk about the idea that I'm really borrowing the stock and then I'm going to give it back at hopefully at a price that I can win on. But selling short means I'm betting it's going down. So it basically says, hey, I'm betting the stock will go down. And what did it do? Did it go down at that point? Where's it
No,
going?
it went up.
It went up. What is the color of the dotted lines?
It's red.
Why is it red?
They lost
Big-
money, it was selling short, they bet on it, so it went up, but they really lost
That
money.
part. Beautiful. And here, what does it say? Buy. And what's it happening? It said buy, and it says sell, get out of it here. What happened? Did it go up or down? It went down, so I lost. And then at this point, it says, go ahead and buy here. And at this point, it basically got out. But what happened? This is lower than this. What I should have done, so at this point, let me make this smaller, so I can even go backwards. You see here I can go back in time. Here I made money, here I lost money. Now how do I do the performance? Had I bet on this strategy, the computer's doing the buying and it's the selling. Had I gone with this strategy, put this in your notes, I want to get a performance report. The way I get a performance report is I just right click, and where should I go in order to get a performance report?
Go to strategy performance.
Look at a strategy performance. Beautiful. My sample MA crossover, 1025, the 10 represents the fast, the 25 represents the slow. And I want to get historical and real-time data, so what should I click? I want the historical, I want the back in real time. So what performance? Historical and real time.
What was the thing you needed our phones for?
I'll talk to you in a minute. So, remind me. So, I'm gonna do the gross profit. I look at it. So how did I do in this trades? How did I do on all my trades? Did I make money or lose money? Did I make money or lose money? Did I make money or lose money? Minus 464, short. So I didn't do so well. And if I go down and look at, how did I do on, let me go back. So if I look at my profit per month, my profit per month was minus 0.3. Not good. So for this stock, for that strategy, this is a loser. I might as well go to the beach and not invest. So let's start with another company then. So I'm going to close this out. And right here, what was that other company, BA? So all I can do on my chart, put a note, on my chart, I can just type in the symbol. It was BA. I'm going to press enter. So how does it look, BA? Do I see a lot of green? Yes, no?
Yes.
Looks like a lot, right? Do I see any, just a little bit of red here? So how do I get to the performance? Right, basically, all I have to do, let me close this. Right, I go to strategy performance, sample MA, historical and real time, and go to all my trades. Did I do better? How did I do in all my trades? It was positive, and how did I do my profits per month? How did I do? Profits per month was 4.99%. How much do I get in the bank per month? If I put money in the bank, how much do I get? Interest. William, how much do I get interest in the bank?
Very little.
Very little, meaning what? 1%? Less than 1%?
Yeah,
A lot less than 1%, maybe 0.00 whatever. So this is a lot better, right? How do I bring this to Excel? Just go right click, go to grid, export to Excel, and I'll just export it to Excel. And whenever my Excel comes up, and it's all in Excel, and then I can see in terms where I have my, probably I can make this as my tab for one of my Excels here, and I can see here how well I did. Everybody with me? Give me a thumbs up if it's okay. All right? Good. Next, now I want to look at the source code. What did that strategy do? So let's put it in our notes. I'm going to close out Excel because I don't need that Excel right now. So I'm going to go back to my control center. Everybody with me? What am I trying to do now? I want to look at my strategy. I want to look at my source code. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Control Center. So put it in your notes here. I'm going to go to Control Center. Control Center. And I want to look at my script, or the script or my source code. A common scripting language is called JavaScript. Anybody even hear of that before? JavaScript is a common scripting language. What's the name of this program? NinjaTrader. So what's the scripting language of this one called? Brittany?
Java.
What's the name of the scripting language here? NinjaScript. So basically the name of my programming language here is NinjaScript. And this is really a basis of what we call C#. Who plays any music here? Anybody, any instrument at all? There's no, what do you play? Who plays? Yeah.
Piano.
What? Piano. So you know how you do a sharp, right? Like C#, right? So that's what the name of this programming language is. It's C#, but since we're using Ninja, a lot of the functions are built in and are written for you using NinjaScript. So I'm going to edit the NinjaScript. So where do I need to go, Lexi? I want to edit the NinjaScript.
Edit NinjaScript.
Okay, edit NinjaScript, and I want to edit my strategy.
So click strategy.
So click strategy. And now what was the name of my strategy that we just looked at? Sample MA crossover. And I say okay. And this is source code. And guess what? We're going to write source code, but what the beauty here is, it has, when we're going to write our own strategies, it has a built-in wizard that you write the rules sort of like in English, and it will translate it into NinjaScript. But the idea, what I wanted to show you, there's something, you remember I talked about, did I talk about in the class about somebody that's called a quant trader? Did I talk about that position? There's a position, the people that do this automated trading systems, quant traders, starting salary is $250K. And if your strategy is successful, you get the commissions on that, starting. So you think that it's, so they're starting on these, and what they do is they work in groups. So they work with PhDs in physics, PhDs in math, PhDs in finance, and also computer science people and people that know the sector. So if I'm dealing with the health sector, I'll have people with the health sector coming in and out. So this is my NinjaScript. Anything in green are just comments for human beings. Those that know programming already, you know these are just like comments. Doesn't it look like, and really when you look at it, doesn't it look like Java or any other programming language? It doesn't really matter. So I'm not going to even worry about that, but I'm going to, I can choose from a number of different people here. Let's start off with line 38, and I can tell you that you know. Remember we looked at our graph, right? We had an orange, and we had a green. And basically what did we do here? When we had the orange and green, what actually did happen here? Right? In my orange and green one, you remember when I did that new chart? Right? You remember here? Let me just go back to where we were. This is my green, and this is my orange, and I said, when these cross over, then I'm going to buy, right? When this goes below, I'm going to sell short, right? When this crosses below, I sell short. When it goes over, I buy. That's the logic. Everybody understand? When they cross over, when one is above one, we buy. When one is below the other, we do what? We short. We bet on the short. Everybody with me? So now when I'm going to go to, get out of this. Now when I want to go to my script, this is my source code. I'm going to highlight this. So who wants to work with me on this? Volunteer on this code. Brian, can you read this?
I can.
Good. All right. Good. So you remember that was one of the qualifications for this class. Didn't I say it first night? What did I say? You know how to read.
Yeah.
So we're going to test you on whether you can read.
Hopefully
so
I pass.
What?
Thank you for supporting me.
Okay, so the class is, so what are we going to do? And I'll show you that this is the code that we can figure out. This says what? Instead of from left to right, do I have any Arabic or Hebrew readers? Because then we can do right to left, okay? So we're going to do right to left here. So this says what?
Orange.
Is the color, right, of the pen. And that's going to be what SMA?
Fast.
Fast.
Type pass.
Wait, we haven't finished it.
Alright.
And then green is the color of the pen color for the SMA of slow. That's the code. Right? We can get it in other ways, but that's the code. I just want to show you that we can read through the code, and then we're going to add those two, right, my fast and my slow. And this is the area. You're going to get excited about this. I know, Brian. You want to still go with me, or you want to pass it on to somebody else? It's your decision. No pressure.
That's a lot of pressure on me here.
I know. Do you want to go with me?
I'll let somebody else take
Okay,
it.
okay.
I know
Who
there's a lot
else
of
wants to
anxious
be?
people in this
Okay.
class.
So who wants to be? Estelle, you want to go with me?
No, yeah.
Oh, not really. I'm not going to force anybody. Lexi, you're doing great.
I've done
You've done enough. Okay. All right. So what we'll do then? Okay. So who's next to? Okay. So Annie, Annie, be with me here. So basically, this is an if and else if. Okay. So if the cross goes above, you remember that fast? We said if it's above the slow, then what should we do? Enter long meaning by. Else if otherwise, then Leah, if it crosses below, right, if my fast crosses below instead of above, what should I do?
Short.
Enter short, meaning I'm betting it's going wrong. That is the logic. These, by the way, those that have had it, these, by the way, entered short and entered long. I didn't even have to write. They're built in what they call libraries. They're built-in functions. Anybody know what a function is in Excel? Right? Like even an add, a sum, right? The whole idea of a regression, any of those functions built in, you don't have to write the code to it. It's built into Excel, just like Ninja Script. Things that relate to the stock market, things that relate to automated trading, they've already written for you. And I'll make it even easier next week of showing you how you can write your own rules. Once we start doing it away, that once I know the logic, I don't even need to know it. But if I do have it, this is what you would write then in terms of, or you can take a regular one and do it. So if I found a strategy that was really good in longs but it didn't do well in shorts, like the Apple, when it went down it wasn't very good. Then what I would do is I would just eliminate this part of the strategy. Everybody understand? And lines 54 and 55 I would take out of my strategy. And then I could put in stops and things like that. If I started losing, Andrea, a certain percentage, I'd say get me out of that trade. Or when the market is really starting to go down like it is today, maybe I don't even want to be in. Or if it's going down today, get me as shorts if I can get it. Sometimes it's difficult because going down so precipitously. But I can put rules, that's why it went down so much today, because all those machines say, let's say, when it goes down 2% or 1%, I want out. So guess what, it went down 5%, because everybody was just, and people aren't doing it, it's those machines, and how fast can those machines, before I blink my eyes, everybody's getting down, just maybe one's getting down a millisecond before another one. And that's why they almost think about it like a flash crash, but it isn't really a flash crash, you know, but they're thinking because it's so precipitously.
There was one today.
Yeah,
That was hit on -18.
yeah,
On the day, it was sub like 23 within 15 seconds.
yeah. And who knows who's creating that?
There was no liquidity, the
Yeah.
HPTs pulled it all.
Right. So in days like that, you may have in days like that, when you're seeing that, like in days like that, then you maybe put in another type of strategy for crazy days. Everybody understand where we're going. So I'm going to be giving you assignments when you're asking, Ali, there'll be assignments on this, but those that really want to go into this quite a bit in more detail and in more that really say, hey, this is a skill that I want to get, we can do that as part of your projects that you can get. But for everybody, I want everybody to understand, what do they mean by, and then later on, what do they mean by automated trading systems? What does it mean by machine learning? And then later on, you can get more sophisticated as more and more the machine starts trading and more the strategies become more sophisticated. But you've got the basics of the basics. So what's my assignment for this? This one, what I want to have everybody do is to get Ninja, and Bryn, you'll do me a favor and you'll check tomorrow to see if you can try it out. Even bring a couple of your people from your group together to see if you can do it. And if you're getting problems with it, contact me and we'll try to get the guys in the lab at least to set up some machines there for us. And then what I would like you to do is to pick some stocks, find some stocks where you have a positive profits per month. And try to find the highest profits per month. And then later on I'll show you an algorithm, rather than you doing individually in stocks, you can take a whole selection and let the computer find the best ones. Picking and choosing, because we can have thousands and thousands of stocks. You don't want to be sitting there thousands and thousands of stocks. But what I'd like you to do as a group is to try to find those out, bring it to, download it to Excel, and then put it in tabs where you're finding then which turned out to be your best, and then upload your spreadsheet with a little description of what stocks you found to be having the highest profits per month using the SMA. If you want to go in, some of you have more background than others, you can make it more sophisticated. But that's the basics for next week. So let's review. The quiz, the Bitcoin, the questions of finding your industry, and the Ninja Trace. And right now I want to have, before the groups leave, make sure that your peer groups have everything in order, up to date on your audit area. That means when I go to the audit area, what do I need to do? I need to go to the audit area.
I'm in 3.
Right? If I go to the audit area, by the way, what is this? Is this tomorrow? Oh, by the way, a Data Privacy Day. Any of you that are interested, they have that on campus. What is this? They have the Information Security Office. The security officer is coming next week, and she invited our class to on February 7th, those of you that don't have classes, on a Secret Service. Wow. It's not Drake, but it's a Secret Service security expert. Maybe it's Drake, who knows? Okay.
Can you just go over
over what we need to have done for next week?
I'd love to go over. My pleasure. Okay. So let me just do this. First, audit area. Audit area of KX, right? Under course documents. All groups, like group 1, Way, right, Con? Is Way here? Way. Where's Way? Is Raycon here? David? And Cole? No? Nobody? So my group 1 just left me? That's how well I was doing with them. Well, okay. And group 2, right? We're okay. Everybody's good with group 2. So if I go into group 2, Kara is here. Is my group 2 here?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. My group 2. Okay. What's missing in my group 2 here is I want to have where's my collaboration? Okay, so one of the things you need, who else is in your group? Okay, so, right, so your group, I'd like you to stay, your group, and I'll work with you, that you need to have folders, and you need to have collaboration, so we'll need that. Group 3, Priscilla, Estella, Brian, and Alexandra, is that your group now?
Yeah.
Okay, so go through this, and then group 4, I have group 5, group 6, 7, okay, 8, and 9. Annie, where are you? Okay, here, you need to fill this out, right? My group 9, right? And then I need also my screencasting, my collaboration, okay? We need to clean that up, okay? All right, so what do we need to do? We need to make sure this is correct. I need to have my quiz. I need to have, let me go back, I need to have my quiz done for which chapter? PG2 plus all the others. I need to have in my web links, I go to my web links and my regular one, I go to the very bottom and I read through the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain. And my blockchain, what are the applications? Right, I can close this, I can go to what are the applications, and on the table of contents, I need to know the answers to those questions. Okay? Okay, stick around. Okay, and the other part is I need to do my NinjaTrader.
Well, what if we have a Mac? How do we do
Like, what if we can't figure it out?
What do we can't figure it out? Well, we
Can we
need
do
to
that
then,
in
you can
class?
go, what?
Can we do that in class next time?
We can do it in class, but what you're gonna need to do is with your computer, you can go to they have a tech support here on campus and ask them to put Windows on your machine. You get it free. Well, you can see, or you can go to the lab. You can try it in the lab.
So what are we doing on Ninja?
NinjaTrader, you have to download NinjaTrader 7. You have to create a chart, a new chart. You have to pick a company. You have to pick a strategy, simple, or SMA, sample, MA crossover. You have to go to performance and find the company that is profitable per month. Export it to Excel and upload it
Into our folder?
into your folder. Make a new folder
Will
called
you just need to do it or only
NinjaTrader.
one?
What?
Is that one Excel or 3?
You can do one Excel and have like 3 companies.
That's good to next week?
Next week, try it out. If you have issues, document your issues. We all have issues and we document them. Okay? And C, maybe if you can even combine with folks, and what you can do is even with your groups, what do we have? We have peer-to-peer groups. Maybe you can find another peer group who has Windows. Okay? Look around here. You know what the thing is? Put on your group here of even look around. You know, Alex, raise your hand if you have access to Windows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'm just saying, you can even go with another group and start. Okay? It's on. I'm posting the thing. Let me do the link right now. I'm gonna do it right now. Perfect. Thank you for reminding me. Okay? So I'm gonna go to my broadcast. I'm gonna go to my links. Let me copy it. Stay with me. So copy, make sure that we have it. I'm gonna copy it here. And now where am I gonna put it? Where should I put it? I'm gonna put it in course documents, right? And you see live streams? Thank you for reminding me. Perfect. And what should I do? I'm gonna make a web link. And then what am I gonna do? I'm gonna give it the date. What's today? Monday? Huh?
Sorry, Kelly.
February 5th, right?